Hello everyone, it's Brian. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite stories, Attack on Titan, and how much I loved it but hated the ending. So the Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 4 special, or whatever you call it, came out recently, last few weeks. And yeah, so the ending of Attack on Titan in the manga came out like 3.5 years ago, and I still hate it. And the anime did improve a lot from the manga ending, unfortunately. But it did, fortunately, but unfortunately, there were some things they did not change, which I absolutely still hated. So the Attack on Titan ending in the manga was trash, but for the anime, I think it was just kind of mediocre. There were some problems I had, and we're gonna explain them here. If you're expecting me to say a lot of positive things, then this video will sadly not be for you. However, if you were disappointed with the ending like me and millions of others from the manga side, then please stay here. Now, obviously, spoiler warning ahead for the entire story of Attack on Titan. Guys, I seriously cannot recommend this enough. Go watch the show before you come here if you haven't seen it. Attack on Titan was a fantastic story. It had character development, high stakes, great plot twists, fantastic music and animation, but all that changed when we got chapter 139 of the manga, or part 4 of the special for the anime. So, Attack on Titan was a story about a young boy named Eren Yeager losing his mother to Titans, and his goal was to save humanity by wiping out every last Titan in existence. Eren was driven, vengeful, immature, but eventually he learned to control himself and channel his anger towards not only meeting his goals, but others too. He eventually became a Titan himself and protected not only his close friends Mikasa and Armin, but also the people inside the walls. Eren was making his mother Carla proud of him. But we eventually noticed that Eren was changing as a character. He began to have doubts, and while his goal of wiping out all the Titans was technically achieved, he still wasn't free. Eren was different than other people born inside the walls. He hated the walls. He saw them as a cage and humanity just cattle waiting to be eaten. Eren had goals, even as a kid, to join the Survey Corps, achieve freedom, but after his mother died, a new goal was added, avenging his mother by killing all the Titans. But the Titans were just mindless beings, weapons, tools created by another nation. He found out his father was a liar and a murderer. His trusted comrades were traitors. And so, Eren's mindset changed, and so did the Attack on Titan audiences. It turns out that nations outside the world hate and persecute the island where Eren and everyone else lives because they are a race called Eldians. Eldians are a group of people in the world that can turn into Titans if they're injected with spinal fluid. However, not everything was bad for them. Eren had the power of the Founding Titan, which would allow him to command and control the mindless Titans, even inside the walls, and there were thousands of giant Titans, to do whatever he said. Eren's friends had a plan. Their friend and queen Historia would have children, since she was of royal blood, and that could access all the special Titan abilities, and Eren would activate a partial rumbling and destroy the militaries and ships of the outside world with the Wall Titans, which would militarily and financially cripple the enemy countries for decades, allowing Paradise Island, where they live, more time to advance their technology and come up with more alliances and solutions in order to defend themselves. Eren had his own plan, however, which was way more brutal and horrifying than anyone could have imagined. His plan was to activate all the Wall Titans and trample and destroy every form of life outside the island. This plan will result in the deaths of billions of men, women, and children and animals. Eren's friends rebelled against their nation and joined with their former enemies from Marley to stop this genocidal plan of his. Unlike Game of Thrones, where Daenerys went crazy out of nowhere and burned and killed millions of people in King's Landing, and nobody did anything to stop her, this made a lot more sense for the story and for Eren's character. He was never a moral character. Sure, he found death horrifying, but he had relatively no issue sacrificing people for the sake of freedom. Eren was obsessed with violence and freedom. It's what he was good at. Eren wasn't a leader. He wasn't a lover. He was a weapon. From the death of his mother to him committing global genocide, we saw every step of Eren's descent into madness. He became the villain of Attack on Titan. Where everyone else saw beauty and hope and joy in the little things, Eren never stopped moving forward into the pursuit of freedom. By wiping out everyone in the world, Eren and his friends and country would have nothing left to fear from the outside world, and they would be able to live the rest of their lives in peace. Eren was so committed to his goal, he abandoned his friends, tricked them, manipulated them, lied to them, heck, even abused them, and even tried to kill them multiple times to stop them from stopping him with the rumbling. Eren was completely lost. He was irredeemable, unforgivable. We were witnessing the greatest protagonist who was the villain all along story ever told. That was until the last chapter and special. You see, the creator and writer Isayama retconned everything to reveal that all along Eren was faking the entire thing. It was always his plan for everyone to team up against him and kill him, so that they could be seen as the saviors of the world, and no more racism between the races. It turns out that Eren was playing everyone to make them turn against him. Oh, and also, he cries on the ground like a freaking child and tells Armin out of nowhere that he doesn't want to die, and that he loves his adopted sister Mikasa and doesn't want her to find another man and move on from him. You know what I have to say to you, Eren? You want to know who else didn't want to die? How about the countless mothers and children and babies that died horribly because of you? Eren is worse than Hitler, Stalin, Kim Jong-un, Mao Zedong, and every single dictator in human history combined. He even went back in time and killed his own mother. And you expect me to feel sorry for this piece of garbage? No! I seriously cannot understand how some people feel sorry for Eren because of this. I seriously don't get it. This is exactly like Game of Thrones, except in the story, Daenerys had no build-up as the final villain, and it happened too late. It was in the penultimate episode of the entire series. Daenerys killed countless innocent people when she didn't have to. She already won the throne, so it literally goes against her character because she wanted to rule, to be their queen, to be loved and feared. This wasn't Eren's arc. Isayama, like Dave and Dan, retconned and subverted expectations, ruining both amazing stories. Anyways, after Eren is killed, Mikasa makes out with her abusive and global genocidal adopted brother's decapitated head. Because why not? And then we see a flashback where Eren, before the final fight, tells Armin that he will kill 80% of humanity before he is killed. How would Eren know that exactly? He's not all-knowing. How does he know how many people are in the world and how many he's killed? How does that even work? Like, it's not like he has a kill counter bar that tells him the percentages. Not only that, but in the manga, we got this completely out of nowhere line from Armin that goes against this character, who was the most moral character in the entire series. He says to Eren, "Thank you for becoming a mass murderer for our sake." They changed this in the anime, which I am very glad they did, but regardless, if one of my friends did anything close to what Eren did, murdering billions of people, I would hate their guts, condemn them, never speak to them ever again. So, yeah, after Mikasa kills and kisses Eren, Armin sees Mikasa and cries, mourning Eren, and everyone transforms from their titans into their human states, and a lot of them kind of feel like Eren was a tragic hero, that he did this for them, but no, Eren did not sacrifice himself for them. The only thing he sacrificed were billions of lives. Eren is not a savior. Eren is not a hero. Eren is a twisted human being who killed billions of people and is irredeemable. Okay, moving on. Alright, so anyways, we then get a 3-year time skip where we see that Historia's child, if you guys didn't know, she was pregnant in the final season, we see that her child is a girl with blondish, kind of light brown hair, which means that the child was not Eren's biological daughter. Talk about a missed opportunity. For those of you who don't know, in the beginning of Attack on Titan, all the way to now, Eren and Historia have had a sort of hinted relationship with each other. So, for example, in all the specials and episodes, Eren and Historia shared many scenes together. For example, in the past, when Historia was kidnapped by human traffickers and thieves who literally were going to do God knows what to her, Eren wanted to save her. He wanted to go back for her, and he could not let her go. In Season 2, he kills a Titan in his human form, saving her. In Season 3, they sit down when the government is after them, and they share genuine conversations, and he even tells Historia that he likes the new her more than the old one. They were kidnapped together, and when Eren lost the will to live after finding out that so many people died for him and that his father was a murderer and a liar, he told Historia to eat him and retake the power of the founding Titan so that humanity can be saved. But she refused it, valuing his life over saving and controlling humanity. Now, this is going to trigger some people because they ship Eren with Mikasa, his adopted sister, but Eren has shared a lot more chemistry with Historia. He helped build an orphanage with her, for Pete's sake. He kissed her hand in a later part of the episode, and even Mikasa was getting jealous with this. So when he kissed her hand, he activated his future memories, and this changed his personality because he saw the future. Not only that, but when the allied nations, the Osmobitos, which were the Japanese for Attack on Titan, when they came and told Paradise of the plan in order to survive, they stated that Historia would need to have as many children as possible and even become a Titan shifter herself, which would result in her dying. Eren, however, refused this plan. He stood up to these ambassadors and to everyone and stated that he was not going to follow Zeke, his older brother's plan, to save the island if it meant Historia's life. Because not only would Historia have to die, she would have to die at a young age, and not only that, suffer for the remaining years of her life. Eren was against this plan. If it was any other character, I think Eren would have done it as well, but not to this extent. The fact that Eren was so determined to protect Historia, heck, during a time skip we see a flashback, and he even told Historia that he was going to overthrow the government because he found out that they were going to use her anyway and kill her or whatever, use her as a weapon. And Eren stated that her life and freedom were too important and that he was not going to sacrifice her and that she was not going to be a pawn and a weapon to them, even to save the island. He also told her that he was going to destroy the world to protect her and her child and everyone on the island. If Eren was the father of the child that's inside of her, this would actually give some justification for destroying the world. And Historia told Eren, openly mind you, what if she did have a kid? She shared this intimate conversation with him, this secret, this incredible scene of not wanting to die, so she chose to get pregnant instead, which would stop her from becoming a Titan. Anyways, all this was done to set up a relationship between the two. They had so much chemistry. It was so set up. Like the CRM in the final season of The Walking Dead, there was so much build-up, set up, but no payoff. Moving on, Mikasa is somehow back on the island now. She's sitting by the tree mourning Eren. Now, I have some questions. How the heck did she get back? She was in the middle of a destroyed and deserted and desert country from the battle where they killed Eren. She had no boat, no allies, no vehicles. She had no plane, nothing. How the heck did she make it back to the island? Seriously, did she paddle all the way there with Eren's head? How did she find it? Like, this is more confusing than Daryl going to France. At least that was explained. At least that wasn't off screen, for the most part. Anyways, not only that, but how is she even allowed to live? Last time Mikasa was on the island, the Jaegerists were trying to kill her and her friends because they were going against the Rumbling to save the world, which technically would have left Paradise vulnerable, but still, regardless of the fact whether or not Mikasa committed treason or not, she still is hated by the island. So how the heck was she allowed to live here for 3 more years? How has nobody killed her? She's a huge traitor in her eyes. I don't know. Anyway, afterwards, we see in the boat, everyone, Reiner sniffs a letter from Historia. Levi is crippled for life. However, they had the scene of him handing out candy to orphans that, were made orphans because of Aaron's rumbling. And I actually did enjoy this scene more than I did in the manga. In the manga, it was just he was in a wheelchair, that's it. So this was actually much better, in my opinion. Another positive change I will give the anime ending over the manga ending. So anyways, Mikasa is crying by the tree on the hill where she buried Aaron's head, but then a bird comes out of nowhere and rewraps her scarf around her as it was falling down drooping. The reason I'm saying this is because in season 2, when Aaron and Mikasa were about to die by the Smiling Titan, Aaron stood up to the Titan, defending Mikasa, protecting her because she was injured, and said that he'll wrap the scarf around her as many times as possible, which basically implied he would protect her and care about her no matter what. I think that's the significance of it. But regardless, that's what he said when they were still teenage soldiers about to die. Anyways, some people think this is just symbolism, but like I said, it's just kind of weird that, this scene kind of implies that Aaron is a bird or something like that. Because remember, birds are free and Aaron always wanted to become a bird, so it's just kind of confusing in my personal opinion. So, yeah, think about it. Aaron was a kid, then he's a human, then a Titan, then basically a god, then the literal real-life devil, to a loser simp, to a head, and now he's a bird. Yeah, you can see why I really don't like this ending, but not everything was bad, like I said. A lot of fan favorites got to live, and the world had an uncertain future, which made sense. The remaining characters who stopped Aaron became world ambassadors to make sure peace remained between the island and the outside world, and they also tried to make sure the outside world will recover from Aaron's rumbling. It wasn't great, but the ending partially worked. And then we got the dreaded extra pages, or I guess you can say the extra credits for the anime. We see years, decades later, the island modernizes. Mikasa has a family with Jean, constantly visits Aaron's grave. Sheesh, that must be awkward. Then she dies of old age and is buried with a scarf. Then we see many more years pass by, and I assume centuries? And then freaking jets bomb and destroy the island at least a century after the rumbling. So then technically everything was for nothing. They never bought the islands enough time to defend itself. Aaron killing billions of people never mattered because it forever prevented the island from making another alliance like with the Asian Osmobitos. It also did not prepare the island enough for being ready for warfare with the world hating them, and it wasn't able to do anything but make countless billions of people suffer. Well, at least there's no more Titans, right? Yeah, well, that got retconned too, because it turns out that this giant worm that was in the episode, the special, yes, there's a giant worm in this show. So anyways, after the giant worm was killed, eradicating all Titans from the world, a piece of it remained with Aaron, or specifically his head. And when genius Mikasa buried him, it mutated the tree into a super tree, which is housing the next giant worm, which will turn this poor kid, probably Mikasa's descendant, or the dog, into a Titan, which will restart this entire conflict all freaking over again. Look at what Zootopia did for its ending. In Zootopia lore, predators and prey rarely got along with each other, and they portrayed racism or speciesism for both sides. But Judy had this amazing quote. Turns out, life is a little more complicated than that. We all have limitations, we all make mistakes, which means, hey, glass half full, we all have a lot in common. And the more we try to understand one another, the more accepting we'll be. So no matter what type of animal you are, from the biggest elephant to our first fox, I implore you, try. Try to make the world a better place. Look inside yourself and decide that change starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with all of us. Judy's speech not only speaks to both predators and prey, but also humans in Attack on Titan and our real world as well. Nick and Judy were able to break the cycle and learn and develop. Both had trauma and speciesism in their own way towards their opposite species. Nick saw prey annoying and uncaring, and Judy believed predators were more untrusting and prone to savagery. They learned the truth. No one side is more good or valuable or bad or trustworthy than the other. In the end, we see a tiger kit and a giraffe kit play. It's showing that the next generation hopefully won't have this hatred in them for the other. which is good. Attack on Titan and Zootopia both had great stories and messages, but while Zootopia ended with its hopeful message, Attack on Titan didn't, because it showed that nothing mattered and all our time was wasted. Zootopia didn't end where we see predators and prey going to war and one side wiping out the other, but Attack on Titan did. Nothing ended up mattering. I understand that they couldn't stop violence from repeating, but showing us that the island gets killed anyways? And this makes Flock and the other Jaegerists right that the only path to peace was global genocide, which is horrible. It is morally disgusting and contradicts the overall message. The Titans weren't wiped out. Eren never achieved freedom because he was a slave to his time travel path of killing billions and dying like an idiot. They weren't able to save the island or stop racism. So then, everyone suffers due to unchangeable human nature, and nothing you do or ever will do will matter in the long run? That's depressing. Shoulda went the Zootopia route, Isayama. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it for my ending rant or breakdown. While I still enjoyed the journey and some parts of the ending, the fact is that it still had a disappointing destination, and it hurts so much. It's sad that stories like Attack on Titan and Game of Thrones could gather millions of people into loving it, only to fail so horribly at the ending. A bad ending can taint and ruin a story and franchise forever. Writers, I implore you, please take more time in how you plan on ending your stories, because it will be the most important thing for the fans. This is an Ian and Andy writing here. I'm sorry, but sometimes it is in certain parts. So what do you all think? Did Attack on Titan have a disappointing ending? Could you have written it better? Do you think Zootopia endings are the right way to go? Let me know what you all think down in the comments below. And until next time, guys, take care. Bye.